The Nassau Institute proudly presents its inaugural Economics of Liberty lecture series. The lectures were conducted May 2nd and 3rd, 2011 in Nassau, Bahamas by Dr. Richard Ebeling, Professor of Economics at Northwood University in Midland, Michigan, USA. The Nassau Institute is grateful for Dr. Ebeling's dedication and assistance and great teaching ability. A special thank you is extended to the Templeton Foundations for their generous support, without which this event would not have been possible. We also thank the College of the Bahamas and Professor Randy Forbes for hosting this student lecture series in the new Harry C. Moore Library auditorium. Please enjoy Professor Ebeling as he discusses the economics of liberty.
This lecture that was supposed to cover all in an hour is like an entire semester of microeconomics. So I have to talk fast. Okay, but it's meant to be sort of like the core conceptual framework. And as was listed on the program, these are the core concepts around which an understanding of the logic of market and general human decision-making in general occurs. The most pervasive concept, the one from which economics starts, is the notion of scarcity. Scarcity means that the means at our disposal, the things that we could use to achieve our ends, goals, and purposes, are found to be insufficient, either in their qualities or their quantities, or both, to be able to attain all of the ends, goals, and purposes that we desire. Now, this very fact that the means are scarce, that is, that I cannot attain all the goals that I want with what I have to try to do it, is an eternal and a pervasive concept. This applies to all men in all places at all times since the beginning of time. The fact is that primitive man faced different types of constraints, like caveman in ancient primitive times, but he too had a limited amount of time, right? Our time is limited. We have so many hours in the day. A part of that time is taken by sleep. Most of you sleep part of the day, right? Okay. Wimpy students sleep. Okay. Part of the day is taken up with sleep. We normally think of what, like a 7 or 8 hour normal sleep time. Okay. So that leaves 16 hours in the day. Okay, that leaves about 16 hours in the day. And that 16 hours are to do all the other things that we want. Spend time with our friends, our family, do the chores and household activities we have to do, attend school. Being here today has involved you allocating a part of the scarce time. Now, and I sincerely mean this, I thank you. I understand you have finished your school year. In principle, you could be doing other things today, and hopefully you'll come back tomorrow. Or not. Lock those doors. Anyway, but you're giving up this chunk of hours in today and tomorrow that you could do other things with. And in fact, if I asked you to just take a second and think of your mind, what would you be doing right now if you had not chosen to come here today? Think about what you'd be possibly doing. I know it's depressing. What am I doing here? Anyways, but right, that's the fact that you face this scarcity. There's not enough hours in the day to do this plus other things that you could have done if you had not come here. And that gets us to the idea of choice. The very fact of scarcity implies the necessity and the requirement upon us to have to choose. If the means are insufficient to attain all of my goals and purposes, then something is not going to be able to be achieved or attempted. Now I have to decide, if I have like 3 or 4 goals, and the means at my disposal, either the time available to me, the resources, the money to buy things that I might have in my pocket, would only enable me to attain, let's say, 2 or 3 of these 4 goals, then which will I attempt to attain, and which will I have to forego? Well, that implies that I'm going to now have to rank these goals or ends or purposes in some order of importance. Well, if I could only do one of these, which one do I consider most important, most highly important purpose, goal, or activity? The second most, the third most, the fourth most. And therefore we rank our ends, our goals, our purposes, in some implicit order of importance to ourselves. And then apply the means in the best way we can, as the economist says, efficiently, effectively, so as to try, given their quantities and qualities, to attain as many of those goals going down the ranked list as possible. That's what economizing means. It means to use the means that we have in the most efficacious and efficient way so as to get the most out of them that they could service for us. That is essential and inescapable. Now, there's a number of things that follow from this that should not be ignored. And that is that the very act of choice implies the idea of a benefit and a cost. The very notion of a choice implies a benefit and a cost. What do I mean by that? Well, let's suppose that it's the end of the day and you get home and you're talking to some of your friends. And they say, well, what did you do today? Okay? And you say, well, you know, crazy me, I went back to the College of the Bahamas, even though the semester was over. And I listened to this wild and crazy guy from the United States talk about economics all day, as if I hadn't had enough of it all semester. Okay. And now if that friend would ask you, what did it cost you? The cost would be that next best alternative that you would have done instead if you had not chosen to come here and spend time with me today. That thing you would have done if you had not considered this more valuable, useful, or important to do with your time. That's the cost of your choice. That next best alternative that would have been done or pursued or attempted if not for the fact that you chose to be here today. Now, what does that mean? What's the benefit of your choice? The benefit is the alternative you chose. It's the thing that you gained, the benefit you received by doing this as opposed to what you could have been doing today. Now, another way of thinking about this that I want to suggest is crucial. Issues came up in the Q&A at the end of our first talk about the idea of, you know, exploitation, the profit motive. Let me suggest something to you, that there is no escape from the profit motive in anything that anyone does. And it has nothing to do with the marketplace and buying and selling at money prices. Okay? There is no escape from the mechanism of profit and loss. Everything we do is profit motivated. Even that image of Robinson Crusoe, the sailor shipwrecked on a desert island all by himself. No trading, no exchanging, no associating with anyone else. I know eventually Friday shows up, but before that. When he's all by himself on this island, he's profit motivated and profit guided in everything he does. Why? Because he has to ask himself, listen, I'm alone on my island. I have to do all the work myself. With whatever tools and implements I was able to get off the ship, if you've ever read the book, before it sank below the waves, having been damaged on the reef around the island. I could do this with my time, and I could do that with my time. I'm going to do A instead of B. Why do I do A instead of B, given that I don't have enough time in the day to do both of them, doing everything myself on my island? Because I think A will make me better off than the B that I'm going to have to forgo, at least for today, or maybe longer. It's worth the cost of giving up the B that I could be doing with my time today to pursue the attempt to achieve the A instead. I'll benefit more than I'm giving up. Benefit more than you're giving up? That there is an increment of a gain over what it's costing you, the alternative you're not doing? That itself is your expected, personal, mental, subjective conception of the profit gain from your choice. Just hanging out or doing something else with your friends, but instead to come here because of what you heard and learned and were made to think about in what we talked about. So you're telling him that you profited from it. You gained from not doing this other thing. Now, of course, there's the alternative. Your friend says, well, what did you do today? I went to college listening to these lectures. You could have come to the beach with us, had a good time. Yeah, I wish I had. Boy, was that guy terrible. Oh, gosh, he was awful. Boring. Oh, what a weirdo. And so, well, so you're saying in your mind,